This is Cthulhu Dark Hotel Miramar. Maybe part one. We might finish the whole thing today. I don't know yet. But we'll say part one for now, and possibly part one of no more. We'll see. Let's do cats. Actually, let's introduce ourselves first. When I call on you, please say your name, your pronouns, anything else you would like for viewers of the video to know about you. I will start. My name is Jason. I use he, him, and they. I am a publisher of role-playing games, in particular, a series of games that are derived from Brindle Woodbay and The Between. And I love Cthulhu Dark. I have played it so many times, and it is my kind of personal playground for things I'm trying to try out. And that's what I'm doing with these mysteries. So let's go over to Alex.
Hello, my name is Alex. I use he, they pronouns. I am a writer, actor, voiceover artist. I co-host the Dark and Threshold podcast alongside Jason, and I like to make spooky things and games about farming because Stardew Valley.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. Let's go to Amanda.
Hi, everybody. My name is Amanda. My pronouns are she, her. I'm mostly just kind of around on the TTRPG community online, getting into as many games as I possibly can, writing some stuff, hanging around, being annoying, just living my best role-playing life.
Fabulous. Thank you. And Wes.
Hi, my name's Wes Franks. My pronouns are he and they. He's great. They is sick. I do a lot of stuff. I've done a lot of stuff. I love Cthulhu Dark, and I'm very excited to play with these group of people. I was on board as soon as Jason was like, I think we're gonna do this. And I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. Because I've been watching a lot of noir films recently. So I'm so excited. I'm just happy to be here. Like, thanks for the invite. I'm just glad to be here again.
Fantastic. Thank you. And Chaotic.
I am Chaotic. I use he, they pronouns, and I haven't really played too much of Cthulhu Dark. Yeah, it's a game I know about, and I know Jason loves it very much. So I'm excited to be here.
Fantastic. Let's do cats real quick. CATS is an acronym that stands for concept, aim, tone, and subject matter. I like to do this to establish some basic expectations for what we're going to be doing this week and possibly next week. So the concept, Cthulhu Dark is an extremely rules-light Lovecraftian horror game by Graham Walmsley, and I mean extremely. You can fit the rules on a index card if you try. But it doesn't mean it's lightweight. It's actually like a really interesting, very narrative forward kind of system. And it was designed in particular by Graham to sort of skirt past some issues that some mystery games have, which is something I know a lot about, skirting past mystery game issues. And the way Graham does it is by he's essentially created a system whereby you're sort of always proceeding forward in the mystery. But until you get to the end, in which case it's basically over, probably over for your character as well as the game being over. It is a great little system. I like to use it to play test setting elements for other things I'm going to put out in other games, and that might be a little bit of what we're doing today as well. The particular mystery, Hotel Miramar, is part of a trio of mysteries I wrote for Cthulhu Dark that I called Cthulhu Dark Confidential. No connection to Cthulhu Confidential, the gumshoe thing, but the idea being that each mystery is set in a sort of LA Noirish, LA Confidential sort of 19. It's not like precisely nailed down, but it's a very, between the 20s and the 40s, kind of in that time frame. And all in Hollywood. So yeah, the mystery, all three of these mysteries are incredibly lurid and dark and sex stuff. So I know this group will be into it, but you should know if you're watching this video that we're going to get real nasty. So in terms of aim, we're going to make characters after I'm done with my spiel, that we're going to play. We'll have a debrief at the end. The tone of the game is dark, as you might imagine. The tone of this particular mystery is incredibly dark, and I'm excited to share it with you. The subject matter, as I noted, is very lurid. Confidential magazine is a real magazine from this time period, and its whole thing was, we're going to publish pictures and stories of fucking murders and rapes and all kinds of horrible shit. It's all going to it's there for you, for your viewing pleasure. And so this is very much inspired by that kind of incredibly grimy sort of LA thing in the early 20th century. We'll nevertheless have safety tools in play. We're going to do lines and veils. I'm going to do roaming lines and veils because I think it's appropriate for this, meaning if something is about to happen in the fiction that you are not into, or if it happens in the fiction you're not into it, we'll line it at that time and then proceed apace. But I will tell you that you can expect in this particular mystery, there's going to be a lot of talk of sex work. There's going to be a lot of talk of definitely sexual predation. I don't think it really reaches a level of like sexual violence necessarily, but there's a lot of strong implication of sexual predation going on, as well as just general sort of predation of sort of old Hollywood, right? So it has all those like kind of dark themes. Let's see what else. Yeah, I think that's about it. And obviously we'll have the X card and stuff as well in play. And you all know how to do it in this context, so I'm not going to go into that. Any questions about Cthulhu Dark, about this mystery before I proceed? Okay. Then I'm going to pause the recording while we make characters really quickly. Actually, I'll introduce the character introduction process and then pause it so that folks know what we're doing. Let me tell you the basics of what this mystery is so that you can then create characters for it, because these are one and done characters, right? So this mystery is about a young man, James Hunsaker, working under the stage name Daniel Devane. He was a young man from back east trying to make it big as an actor in Hollywood. He hasn't been heard from in months. The investigators, which is all of you are together and are indeed on the scene looking for James for different reasons. So you could be local law enforcement, you could be former lovers, you can be a friend from back home, that kind of thing. When we get to the actual character creations process, I'll give you some more specific prompts to work with. But at the outset, that's what this is about. Young man goes to Hollywood to chase his silver screen dreams, goes missing, and he's been missing for a while. You're looking into it. So with all that said, I'm going to pause the recording now. Okay, we are back. Let's go ahead and introduce these characters. We're going to go in reverse order. So Chaotic, please tell us about Reese Palmer.
Reese Palmer is a bellhop officially, sort of a backup jobs to being a washed out actor, still pretty young, got disillusioned fast, then got into like sort of the superstitious parts of the Hollywood, is this place actually normal? Is it cursed? Is it haunted? Who knows?
Like it.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Thank you. Let's go to Wes and Manny.
I am playing Manny Menzinger, who is a tabloid reporter for let's call it
Give a good name.
Los Angeles Uncovered.
Yeah,
a guide to the stars in the grimy streets of Los Angeles and the surrounding area. And by being a tabloid reporter, it makes him feel official, but he is literally just a grimy, skinny dude with bug eyes that smells like diner grease and cigarettes. He does his own photography because nobody wants to work with him. So he does his own photography and he writes his own stories.
Is it the 36th ranked Hollywood tabloid?
It is the 36th ranked Hollywood tabloid in Los Angeles, but we have a lot of subscribers from Kansas, so we're hitting big in the Midwest and everything in Middle America. But yeah, just like a very is not afraid to get into everybody's business.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a story, then there's Manny.
I love it. Thank you. Let's go to Alex and Donovan.
Yeah, hello. I'm playing Donovan Trudeau. He is a this middle-aged guy, kind of like balding top of his head, gray hair. I describe him as like a bulldoggy face, a little jowly, kind of like round, dressed with a very nice green suit that is thoroughly like entrenched with the smell of cigar smoke, and maybe a little bit of brandy. Ostensibly, he is presenting himself as a uh uh a private investigator searching for the missing gentleman. However, that's not what he actually is. He actually works for one of the big studios in Hollywood as a fixer here to track down this guy, because I think he may have involved himself with one of our actresses and needs to be taught a lesson.
Ah, very good, very good. And finally, Amanda, tell us about Ida Swanson.
Ida Swanson is younger or older than she looks. She looks pretty young. She's very round faced. She's got kind of a mousy brown hair. She's quiet. She's polite. She's a very small town. She has come to Los Angeles. She's come out to California to find where her fiance has disappeared to. He hasn't called her in a really long time, and she misses him. So Ida is James's fiance from
I
back
love it.
home. Where did you say James was from?
I just said back east, so
Back east, all right.
yeah,
Yeah, she's from
wherever,
back east too.
anywhere east of California will do. So let me, now that we've met the characters, let me tell you what the setup is. Ida, I think you are the reason that you're all together. You actually paid for a classified ad basically saying, have you seen this person? James has not contacted you. You've not been able to locate him on the phone and through Telegram for probably the last 3 or 4 months. And it's very unlike him. And so you put an ad in the paper of like, does anybody know? And I think that you got some responses. Donovan, of course, has presented himself as a private investigator working for who, Donovan?
Private firm.
Private firm, also trying to find Mr. Hunsaker, or Daniel Devane, as you probably call him, because that was his Hollywood name, Daniel Devane. And Manny, how did you respond to Ida's ad? What was your angle? Like, why are you involved here?
Washed up actor makes a scene on the Hollywood streets. Murder? Question mark. Licentiousness? 2 question marks. Something more. Find out in the next issue of LA Uncovered.
I love it. I love it. You probably have access to places that Ida can't get to, and therefore that makes you useful in this regard. I am curious about the connection between Donovan and Manny, and I'll be curious to explore that as we play, because probably the two of you end up on the opposite sides of the ledger very frequently when it comes to these things. But the real clincher in this investigation is Reese. Reese is the one who knows where James was last. And that's because James had a room, and indeed still has a room, at the Hotel Miramar, where Reese works. The Hotel Miramar it's the sort of place that, it's the kind of place that Donovan might stash an actress who needs to detox, or who needs to stay hidden for a little while. It's the kind of place where licentious Hollywood producers might put people up for a while so that they can keep tabs on them. It's the kind of place where people go to get lost and to be found. It is an expensive hotel. And so the mere fact that James had a room here and continues to have a room here that's prepaid. That's a very interesting detail. And perhaps more to the point for you, Reese, this is not the first time people have gone missing from the Hotel Miramar. There's all kinds of reasons why people show up here, stay here for a while, maybe we never hear from them again. And I think you have a suspicion that there's something else going on, something that nobody else wants to talk about, something of a dark occult nature. And so there's another reason for you to be involved, Reese. And so we're going to begin with the four of you meeting in the hotel bar, having had some phone communications, and there with Ida to figure out what happened to her fiance. Now, I have to tell you, since we're all used to Carr from Brindlewood mystery games, that this is a mystery game, but it is not the sort of mystery where you're going to be answering a question at the end. The clues and things you find are merely there to get you to the next part of the story, and then you get to the end of the story. I will tell you that if you get into physical combat with something that's not just a regular human, you will die. There is no combating supernatural creatures in this game. You always die. And I will tell you that you are fundamentally always successful when you do things. We really just roll for degrees of success, with a narrow exception, which we'll talk about when it happens. For the most part, you're always kind of moving forward. It's the exception to the rules when you don't succeed, right? So just kind of understand that generally about things. We are here to some degree, we're here to go on a ride and have some fun scenes and see some creepy shit and tell a lurid tale. And at the end, if your characters survive, that's great. If not, that's also great. And we'll see how it goes. The Hotel Miramar. The Hotel Miramar. We are in the late 1930s. This is the heyday of Hollywood. This is a city of dreams. This is the kind of place you come to get lost, to remake yourself, to find yourself, to find fortune, to find fame. If you're already here, it's the kind of place where you can make a decent living for yourself by attaching yourself to those people and those institutions. James Hunsaker had dreams. He had dreams of Hollywood fame, of making it on the big screen. He managed to get a few small parts as the actor Daniel Devane, but never really broke out. It has been a number of months since he's been heard from. But you now know that he has a room still in the Hotel Miramar and had been staying there for some time before his disappearance. The police are not yet involved. A young actor who goes missing, a young would-be actor who goes missing, it's not the kind of thing that gets the LAPD roused in particular. The body shows up, maybe. But until then, Ida, you're kind of on your own. Well, plus these other people. Let's paint the scene about the Hotel Miramar. The Hotel Miramar fundamentally believes in the mythic quality of Hollywood. This is a city of gods. What reflects this in the large central lobby area as you all arrive?
There is an Art Deco style, like, columns that are arranging upwards. They get taller as they go towards the center. And in the very middle, there is it starts almost as a painting, but a hand extends out of Apollo, who gives the gift of prophecy, standing there, looking elegant, resplendent, and golden.
There's a fountain that depicts a quite muscular Poseidon who astride a clamshell like I forget what it's called, but like and
Chariot or
chariot. Thank you. Yeah, couldn't remember. And hand similarly to the Apollo, but outstretched as if offering to take you away along the sea.
There's layers of just like drapery of like stuff hanging from the ceiling, like sort of thin, like sort of a pink color that has little like sparkles in it, so it reflects the light very nicely. And on the walls towards more staff areas, there's a rich velvet curtain, so it seems as though that you're weighted on a hand and foot, but you never really see where the workers come from.
Both inside and outside the hotel, there are an extraordinary amount of lights. The light bulb budget at this hotel must be incredible. To people like Ida, who are not used to this sort of thing, it seems so ostentatious, but in an incredible, almost miraculous way. It's like Apollo himself has reached down and touched the hotel to make it a bright, shining sun in the middle of the city.
I love it. Thank you. Ida, I'm sure you arrived very early and you are at a table at the bar, and you'll probably have already met Reese. Reese, you're actually working right now, so you have to kind of like stop in on the meeting periodically as you help people with their bags. Now, you know where James's room is, but you're not allowed in there unless you are there on, unless Mr. Hunsaker has invited you. And indeed, no one's really been in there because James has, or his handlers have requested that nobody go into the room. And so the room is actually quite uninvestigated. We'll say it lies fallow in this regard. But nevertheless, the two of you probably meet before the other two arrive. So let's just have that scene.
You must be Miss Swanson.
We can't hear you.
Oh, yes, of course, I am. Ida. You are?
I'm Reese Palmer, and from what I look like, I am in this very form-fitting bellhop uniform. I'm basically a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, like sort of baby-faced kind of guy, and anything you're holding, perhaps like your own, just like carry on, just suitcase, just because like you're coming out from east. Like I just take it and I just try.
Oh, thank you. I pack light. I didn't bring much. I wasn't sure what I would need. I'm supposed to be meeting some people at I guess the bar.
Mhm, yeah.
I'm really out of my depth
Mhm.
here.
This way, ma'am. Yes. Yeah. I won't be able to put my entire focus on the meeting, but at least I can get you a little bit closer to solving this predicament, because it's very interesting, because not many
Oh,
people would
so
be.
you know about my Jimmy gone missing.
Yes, he's known around here as Danny. That's his
Oh,
actor name. It's sort of like goes uh, James Hunziker. It doesn't go off the tongue as well as Daniel Devane.
Daniel Devane. That sounds so. Well, I suppose Hollywood.
Of
That's very
course.
exciting. Um, well, yes, of course. If Mr. Palmer, if you have any ideas, any suggestions, anything at all, I'd be very much in your debt.
Oh,
I'm
well,
really at a loss. Hopefully, the gentleman I'm here to meet will be able to help as well.
mhm, yeah.
Speaking of said gentlemen, Donovan and Manny, I think you both enter the hotel lobby not realizing that you're going to be in the same meeting. But you know each other. And so before you have that awkward moment where you end up at the same table, what happens with the two of you in the lobby?
Jeez, he really changed the inside of this place. About to go, oh, sorry to bump into you there, pal. Just, shit.
Manny Metzinger.
Donovan Trudeau. It's
A while since I saw you. I see they fixed your nose from the last time we met.
Yeah, it was very expensive, and my whole Jane Mansfield story had to be used to cover that one. So thank you so much for that.
Hey, I told you. Poking nose in the wrong places sooner or later is gonna get caught in a trap. What are you doing here, Manny?
Well, I'll have you know that I am at this swanky establishment on business. Speaking of which, do you know if they validate parking for valet? Because well, you know.
I don't think they validate for rodents, but you could certainly ask the concierge.
I represent that remark, Trudeau.
Yeah, you do represent it, yeah. I see your wording still as good as the fucking rag you publish.
I'll have you know that is the 36th ranked rag in the nation when it comes to tabloids. Thank you very much.
Well, hey, this is Hollywood, kid. Don't talk to me until it gets to 34.
Fantastic. You all know what Ida is going to be. You both know what Ida is going to be wearing. That's how you know how to find her. Ida, what are you wearing? That will.
I'm wearing a bright blue rose pinned to my rather simple cotton dress. It's the nicest dress I have, but now that I'm sitting in this bar looking around, I realize how much I stand out.
So, but between the rose and the fact that Ida is clearly from back east, the two of you will realize that's who you're there to meet. But I don't think you know until right at that moment that you're all there to be in the meeting together.
Oh, you must be you must be Miss Swanson. Or
Yes.
Mrs. Swan. Oh, not yet.
Miss, yes,
Miss.
please.
Pleasure to meet. Sets the camera down on the bar. Manny Menzinger, LA Uncovered. Pleasure to meet you.
Oh, yes, and I rub my hand on my dress because it's kind of clammy and sweaty from being in here, and I shake your hand.
Does a double shake. Excellent. Yeah, Manny Menzinger by name. Hey, how about this place? I'm pretty swinky, huh?
It's incredible. It's amazing. And you must be Mr. Trudeau.
Yes, Miss Swanson, Donovan Trudeau. Nice to meet you.
Oh,
Apologies, I didn't realize you had a tabloid photographer as part of this meeting.
I
Well,
prefer investigative reporter. Thank you very much.
I thought as much help as I could get would be really useful. Honestly, I spent all of our wedding money on this. So,
Wedding money. How long ago were you two married? We talked briefly, but I was interested in getting the particulars.
well, it's the money we've been saving, you see.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah.
I work at a diner, and then Jimmy came out here to make it big in Hollywood so that we could buy a house and settle down once we're married. Maybe even go on a honeymoon.
Well,
Did you contact Mr. Trudeau, or did Mr. Trudeau contact you?
Well, just like you, Mr. Menzinger. I put an ad out, and you all replied.
Donovan walks up and puts like an arm around Manny while smiling at Ida and says, Hey, we're old friends, him and I, so this is gonna be a good arrangement. Can we get you a drink?
Oh, I love that. I love that you're old friends. That really makes me feel a lot more comfortable about this situation. I wouldn't want any strange antagonism, you know? Um,
Absolutely. Would
Whatsoever. Yeah.
would you like a drink? I'd be happy to
I
buy you a glass.
yes, a ginger beer would be lovely.
Yeah, okay, I'll get you a ginger beer. Manny, let's go get ourselves a drink and reminisce over old times while we wait for the good bartender to get that ginger beer, shall we? And
Yeah,
I'll-
we can talk about the time that we saw William Plow acting like a total snowplow. Huh?
yeah, that's a good. Yeah, exactly. And I'm pulling him down further away from the bar.
Looking back at Swanson being like, just
And she's
doing
just
that.
nodding because she has no idea what's happening.
What are you doing in the meantime, Reese?
I think I'm like sort of conversing with like the bartender, just trying to get Miss Swanson some like water. She just came in and she's new to town, and she's not very familiar with what's going on, and we're trying to sort out her room situation. It's been sort of several miscommunications over part of it's a half lie because, well, she is new to town, but I doubt she's staying here, and I'm trying to like imply that she should be staying here.
I think your manager, the hotel manager, Mr. Carruthers, he is a man who wears a beautifully tailored black suit and bow tie, and he has a tiny little Hitler mustache that's not out of fashion yet. And he comes up to you and he says, Reese, I couldn't help but notice that in between your duties, you keep going back and forth to that hotel, that guest and her guests at the hotel bar. Did they have lots of bags that need to be brought up somewhere? Is that why you keep going over there, hoping that the bags will materialize at some point, say, so that you can then bring them up to the room, which is your job? What exactly is going on over there, Reese? Is there something I need to know about?
It seems as though, sir, that there's been sort of a miscommunication with a reservation, and I'm just trying to.
It's so interesting, Reese, because your job description, as I recall it, is that you are a bellhop. It is not your duty to work out miscommunications with the reservations. I have a hard time believing such a thing would occur anyway, but even if it did, it would not be your responsibility to sort it out, and so I have to pose the question again, Reese. What's going on over there?
Well, didn't you say in last month's meeting that employees should take a little bit initiative in solving problems for the clientele?
I think I would like to do the doing other things die roll. When you want to do something other than investigating, you roll dice as you would when investigating, which is to say, you roll one die if what you're doing is within human capabilities. It certainly is. One die if it's within your occupation's expertise. Do you want to make a case that your job as a bellhop will help you convince Mr. Crothers that you are not malingering?
I would say it's more or less of that I am trying to take initiative by remembering what happened at last
the meeting.
month
Yeah, okay,
at the
good.
meeting,
Throwing that in
and
his face. Yeah.
and like I'm generally being helpful to the clientele and not like causing disruption to other clientele, and it's currently, I don't think it's very busy right now, so
You can do 2 dice.
Okay.
So what's your highest of the 2?
6.
You do too well and may get a glimpse of the horror. Oh, how interesting. He says, yes, I suppose I did mention that at the meeting. Showing initiative. This is an admirable quality, Reese, and I have to say, I didn't think you had it in you. You seem like the kind of person that would be, well, capable of taking on all sorts of responsibilities. Really, get the hotel's money worth out of you. Don't you have anything to say, Reese? I've paid you a very healthy compliment.
Thank you, sir. Yes, I think yes.
Reese, and he leans in, and you see briefly the whites of his eyes are no longer there. There's just black marble orbs inside the sockets. I can tell you're the kind of young man that sees things other people don't see. Perhaps you could keep an eye out for me and let me know if something should be brought to my attention, since you're so filled with initiative.
Yes, sir. Completely understood, sir.
And then his eyes are normal, but that brief glimpse of his strange eyes, I'm going to make you do an insight roll. So an insight roll means you have to roll your insight die, and if it's higher than your current insight of 1, then your insight goes up.
It is surprisingly 1.
Ah, very good. So you're not particularly disturbed by this. How do you brush it off?
Because I already know that this place is haunted. Come on.
Very good. Yeah, exactly.
I now I have to deal with my employer being possessed by demons. I can't believe it.
Indeed.
Well, I
let's
mean,
get
this is LA. That's the given.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So Manny and Donovan, what are the two of you doing? You're moving away from the bar.
Yeah, I
What's
I
happening
slid him
right
down
now?
the bar under the guise of getting Miss Swanson a nice drink. And as we kind of like go off to the side, Donovan's smiling, like patting him on the shoulder, like turns, leans in, says, "All right, give me one good reason why I shouldn't send you sailing down the pavement."
Did you tell Miss Swanson who you are?
I
What
told
you
her
do?
what she wanted to hear. What does it
And-
matter what I do to you?
And what is that exactly?
Private eye. Is that technically not what I am sometimes?
Private eye. You're more subtle than you're not any more subtle than a bulldog in a waistcoat. In the middle of the Copacabana, my friend. Okay? Private eye.
I don't take your meaning. All the
Okay.
same.
Okay.
And wait, let me ask you, does she know who you are, Mr. Journalist?
That I am an investigative reporter with a camera, that I get into places that people normally don't get into because I am cunning and charming and I find information. That's exactly what I told her.
Then let me put it like in clear terms that maybe you'll understand. This Jimmy Hunsiger, he put his something somewhere he shouldn't have, and that's why I'm here. And you know what I like to do with my business, so why should I maybe not twist your wrist until it breaks so you can't operate that funky little notepad and camera you seem to carry with you everywhere you go?
Okay. All right. Donnie, how about this? You help me get what I need, a scoop on this Danny Devane, and I won't tell Miss Swanson that Donnie Trudeau is not a private eye, but is actually somebody that wants to take her sweet fiance and make his teeth look like a fence on Melrose, all right? Busted and broken.
Despite the drivel you publish, I do like your words sometimes. I will admit. Okay, tell you what, I like it. I like your angle because, truth be told, I don't like this whole Danny Devane situation. And if you're gonna publish something that makes him look even worse than I'm gonna make him look, then it just kind of serves the studio enough.
Look, everybody gets what they want. You get to wring the guy's neck. Our bellhop friend gets a good pat on the head. I get a big fat bonus. And Miss Swanson gets her fiance carted back to the East Coast in a nice little bow, never showing his freaking face in this town again.
Miss Swanson, you're approached by Mr. Crothers. You're by yourself at the bar at this point. And he comes up to you and he says, "Hello, madam.
Oh, good afternoon.
Are you enjoying your experience here in the hotel bar?"
Well, unfortunately, I haven't actually received any drinks yet. But
shall
I'm sure
have
it's
to-
just very busy.
There's like no one in there. I will come around and make you a drink myself, ma'am.
Oh, no, please don't go to any extra trouble
Oh,
for
I
me.
don't mind. I love being reminded of where I came from. I used to be a bartender before I reached the lofty heights of manager of the Hotel Miramar.
Oh, that's incredible. You really made it from the bottom all the way to the top.
Well, not quite to the top yet, but I am scrabbling my way up that ladder as quick as I'm able. Now,
Oh,
what would you like?
I would love a ginger beer. Um, low on the ginger if you can.
Oh, certainly, yes. Could we perhaps turn that into a Moscow Mule, say, or?
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Well, all right. I'll surprise you. And
Thank you.
he goes and makes something that's not at all what you ordered. And he says, "Here we are. I can tell that you're not from around here."
Oh, do I stand out that much?
Well, that was just a bit of hotelier humor. Most people in this industry that you encounter aren't from around here, except perhaps at the Hotel Miramar. We do have quite a few long-term residents. Nevertheless, what are you
My
doing here?
Jimmy. My
Jimmy,
fiance.
your fiance is a guest of this hotel?
Yes. James Hunsicker. He was staying.
I don't
Well, actually, I
know
don't know which room he was in.
James Hunsicker. The name's not familiar to me.
Oh, I imagine you must get so many guests that it's hard to keep them all straight in your mind. He is tall, broad-shouldered,
Hmm.
very handsome, dimpled chin. He's
Hmm.
got a shiny smile and
Oh.
strong hands.
Oh. Yes. Well, he sounds like a treat. You're very, very lucky to
I
be
really am.
engaged to an Adonis like that, at least as you've described him. But the
I just
name, is it possible he's here under another name?
Oh,
Or
yes, of course. The young Mr. Palmer told me that Jimmy was going by an actor name. Danny Devane, something like that.
go ahead and make the investigation move. I'll give you the first. You get the first light die because it's within human capabilities. Do you want to make a case for? Well, I guess you've listed fiance as your occupation, as
Yeah.
one of your occupations. So I suppose that'll do as well.
Perfect.
Go and roll 2 dice.
Highest is a 4.
A 4. So on a 4, you find everything a competent investigator would discover. He says, "Oh yes, Mr. Devane. We haven't seen him in some time, but he's all paid up through the end of the month, and so his room is still here as he left it, presumably. You said you're his fiancée?"
I certainly am. Would I be able to see his room? He hasn't contacted me in months.
Well, it would be most unusual for me to let you have access. You do understand we have certain regulations we have to follow in this industry.
Oh,
Certain.
absolutely, but I'd be so very grateful.
And he kind of he says, "Oh, I'm sorry. I can't.
Oh,
Mr.
pardon-
Devane is not actually the one paying for the room, you see."
Oh, I thought that perhaps he had used his actor money to get a room in this fancy hotel. Do you know who's paying for it?
Well, I probably shouldn't say, but he's actually the guest of another guest of the hotel, a Mr. Appleton.
Appleton.
Yes.
W- Would I be able to talk to him? Do you know where he is?
Well, he's not here right now, but he's in and out.
Well, perhaps maybe the next time he's in, if you could let me know. I would dearly love to speak with him.
Yes, of course, if you don't mind, and if you'll excuse me, I've just seen an undesirable sort at the other end of the bar.
Oh my, oh dear.
And he floats over towards where the two of you are, Manny and Donovan. He's not referring to Donovan. I don't think he knows who Donovan is. But he goes to Manny and he says, "Oh, Mr. Menzinger. Here to dig up some dirt, I take it."
Oh, Mr. Carruthers, you know me so well. Was the
I know
last
you
time?
too well, in fact.
Well, you'll be happy to know that this is no like rag like the LA Times or something, that new fangled roughshod paper you got over here. I'm here doing work, okay?
Oh, very good. When you were a little boy in wherever you come from, in Nebraska, no doubt, did
Ask me
you,
number 18.
very well, did you entertain dreams, wild, boyish fantasies of exposing people's deepest, darkest secrets?
You're the manager of the establishment, I take it, Mr.
Yes, Mr. Carruthers.
Mr. Carruthers.
And you are?
Donovan Trudeau, PI.
What a fine French name, Trudeau, and yet I don't detect an accent.
I'm not from France, that would be why. He says, "Look, Mr. Carruthers, I understand here that this Weasley piece of shit might have a bit of a stain on your..."
My goodness, that's not the term I would use.
What's the term you were thinking? He might have a
I
bit of
was
a stain on your
thinking too.
establishment, but let me just tell you this: if it eases any of your qualms whatsoever, this fine, upstanding gentleman, he's I've actually paid him as an associate, not for the whole rag business. I got a good leash on him. He's not going to be taking any pictures
And what
that
is it
make your
you
business
do,
look bad.
sir?
Oh, I'm just here for a good drink and to assist the good Miss Swanson down there in making sure that her beloved boy has not been disappeared into the city's many dark corners.
Oh, so this is something of a possibly sordid nature. And
I
now
wouldn't say that at all.
my bellhop's interest in all of you makes so much more sense. Well, it's a free country. I suppose I can't stop you from patronizing this public accommodation, but I do hope you will maintain a low profile. We have a reputation to maintain.
You do have a reputation, a very good one. One that, let's say, would be bad for business if people didn't come to trust that this is a place they could stay.
Are you threatening me, Mr. Trudeau?
Nothing of the sort, Mr. Carruthers.
Are you trying to suggest that I should help you with your little investigation in order to forestall some sort of besmirchment of the Hotel Miramar's reputation?
I mean, more so than what I already might be besmirched. I mean, if it was to get out that conveniently Errol Flynn was sword fighting with somebody in one of your hotel rooms, I think it would be very, very bad for this business.
Or maybe that a certain young actress from a certain picture that came out last Sunday might suddenly be found with a needle in her arm in your Aphrodite room.
I like this. We'll take it as an investigation roll. There might be a cooperation element as well. So you can be the principal roller, Donovan, and if you want to throw in a die as well for cooperating,
Yeah.
you can also roll a die as well.
I'll see Manny's
and-
pulling out a leather like case and it's just flipping through like photos and just being like, let's see.
Cool. What do I roll?
Well, you've probably two dice the way you've because
Okay.
of your occupation. Yeah.
Sure. Love that. All right, cool. It's a 6. Oh no.
Yeah, and I got
Nice.
a 4 on mine. Yeah.
He says, Gentlemen, I don't particularly like to be threatened. I would like to think that I have achieved this somewhat vaunted professional position because I have the ability to navigate the vicissitudes of Los Angeles and personalities like yours. But I know when to give, and I know when to take. And so let me give to you a little bit of information. Both Mr. Devane and his patron, Mr. Appleton's rooms, are currently being cleaned, which means the doors are open, and I can't stop you from wandering up there and poking around. Of course, if I were to discover it, I would have to report it to the authorities, but that's neither here nor there. Now that I've given, let's have a little bit of take, shall we? Let's take a 5-minute break. He says, it's time for a little take. He says to you both, your little investigations might bring you to a movie theater called the Purple Crown. The Purple Crown Theater, in a city positively filled with portals to the land of dreams, it is one of the most direct. I do a little bit of moonlighting there on the weekends. As a projectionist, I consider myself an enthusiast of film. I can't help myself. I know it's completely cliche. But if you find yourself there, and if you go to the projection room, and if you look behind a particular loose brick in the north-facing wall, you will find a reel of film that I have placed there. You should watch that reel of film. You will see things that might even make the two of you blush. For example, you might see A. I would like for you both to roll insight.
5, I go up.
You go up.
3, I go up.
How are you both feeling right now?
Confused, uneasy. I would prefer to have my gin fizz than stand here and talk to this man.
I think Donovan feels, for a brief moment, kind of like at like a zoo when you realize like you are a pane of glass away from being ripped apart by this animal. He gets this brief feeling of like predatory hunger off of Mr. Carruthers that actually like makes his stomach drop for a moment.
He says, well, if we were all sorted out here, Reese, and he keeps a bell in his pocket and he puts it out on the bar and begins dinging it for you, Reese.
I am
What a
hurriedly
dick!
coming over to see what he wants.
Reese,
Mhm.
Mr. Trudeau, Mr. Menzinger, and Ms. Swanson over there, they left some things upstairs, and I was wondering if you might go up with them to help them out. In the vicinity of room 202 and room 506.
Mm.
He gives all of you a big, conspicuous wink.
Yes, sir.
Of course, you'll all be right back down, I'm sure. In, say, 10, 15 minutes. And then we won't have to discuss the possibility of any untoward stories about the Hotel Miramar getting out.
Of course. Yeah, that would yeah. I think that's plenty of time.
I got a bit of a bum knee from the war, but I can probably make it in 10.
Thank you for your service, Mr. Trudeau.
My pleasure.
Well, this has been wonderful. Thank you. What a treat. And he goes back to the desk.
I will take this group up to Mr. Hunsaker's room.
That's 202.
Yeah.
Mr. Palmer, you do have to thank Mr. Crothers for me.
Mm.
I'm just so very grateful for all of the help. You know,
Mm.
people say that, you know, in Los Angeles, everyone is out for their own, but everyone here has been so incredibly kind and generous to me.
Yeah,
Oh.
we're an accommodating sort.
Yes, you are.
You could say that it's sort of my calling in life to be helpful.
And you are doing wonderfully at it, young man.
Hey, is the elevator going faster, or are we just gonna be here all day?
Mhm.
So are you all heading up to the same room, or are you going to split up?
I think that we should probably take 2 by 2 to make sure that we can meet the time limit. Maybe an experienced investigator with each of our greenhorn friends. No offense. Looks over at Mr. Palmer.
Absolutely, I'm happy to accompany Miss Swanson and Mr. Menzinger. You can go with the bellhop.
Of course. And I'll just look over at Reese and give a big toothy smile, which you see there's probably some fake ones in there. Very much like I used the picture. It's Steve Buscemi. I'm just playing Steve Buscemi as an investigative reporter. Just big bug-eyed smile.
Let's start.
After
Okay.
you, Miss Swanson. I
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very gentlemanly.
So then Donovan and Ida are going to Appleton's room or Hunsaker's room?
Jimmy's room.
Hunsikers, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense with Ida. And
Mhm.
Manny and Reese are going up to 506. Let's start with room 202. Second floor. Well, it would be the third floor. No, it'd be the second floor. And there's the elevator operator, takes you up. And when you step out, first thing, there's no cleaning staff. There's no rooms being cleaned right now. And the hallway has that sort of liminal feel that hotel halls have, I mean, hotels by their very nature are liminal spaces, right? They are literally places where people going from one place to another are at. Except the Hotel Miramar is the kind of place where people never move on, or at least not right away. But the hallway is dimly lit. There's a geometric pattern on the carpet and Art Deco style tables and mirrors interspersed throughout. You get to room 202. Unhelpfully, it's locked. So what do the two of you do?
He kind of like looks at the door, like nods to her, like, oh, like, oh, he's your fiance, Miss Swanson. Knock, maybe he's in.
Oh, that's a very good idea. Knock, knock, knock.
There's no answer.
Jimmy, are you in there? It's Ida.
No answer.
Oh,
We should have got the key from the bellhop.
oh, I have a few tricks of the trade I learned at my old firm. Maybe I can help you out here. As long as you don't tell anyone. He gives her like a little wink. And he like walks up to the door. He's gonna try to jimmy the lock, and he says, "I'll give it a Jimmy for Jimmy."
You can roll 2 dice for that.
Snake eyes.
Snake eyes. Well, I mean, you succeed, but it just means that, you barely do the thing you want to do. And here's where the barely comes in. You hear someone coming up the stairs, actually. The steps are heavy. Clump, thump, thump. The stairwell is probably like 3 rooms down at the end of the hall. You can hear these heavy footsteps right at the doorway to the stairwell. But there's a pause. They're not coming into the hallway. They're just standing. It seems like they're just standing outside the door. And you hear and meanwhile, you're like jivvying the lock, presumably in a hurry, Donovan. And you manage to get inside the room just as that door finally opens up. And you manage to get the door closed just as you hear those heavy footsteps in the hall, but now on the carpet. Thump, thump, thump. And still, they pause at room 202. And you just hear again.
Donovan kind of like gives a little like sign to Ida, and he is gonna like look up to the peephole.
Oh, good.
Ida's just standing wide-eyed. She has one hand clasped on Donovan's arm, like really clenching on in fear.
Manny and Reese, you're up at 506. And there is a cleaning lady coming out.
Mhm.
And she's just going down the hall. But you have the keys anyway,
Yeah.
Reese. So getting into Mr. Appleton's room is no trouble. He's out. And so what do you do?
Well, I'm just taking a look around, like, how far has like the cleaning lady gotten into like cleaning this room and just
She's done with Appleton's room, so
Mhm.
there's no worries there. But she's still
Okay.
on the floor.
All right. Yeah, I'm just gonna go into Mr. Appleton's room, take a look around.
When you go in, you're both immediately hit by a really terrible smell. It's the smell of body odor. It's the smell of urine.
Mm,
It's the smell of shit. It looks pristine. It smells absolutely horrible.
no.
Hey, I don't mean to knock your place of work, but do all of your rooms smell like this?
No, oh God. Okay. This is just great.
Okay.
I gotta call someone about this eventually, but
After we're done, yeah.
yeah, there's probably a body in here. Not to get too morbid.
She just cleaned, right?
Presumably, I think she probably just entered in the room and then left. So
So you work here, right?
yeah, every so often, some of
Perfect.
some of the cleaning ladies do not want to deal with like the corpses because sometimes you have
Yeah,
older
no,
folk
I
and
understand. Yeah, I was there when Marlene Dietrich had a guy. It's a story for another time.
Mhm.
You, Reese, I'm gonna grab by like the arm, be like, oh, arms, nice shoulders. It's a good uniform. You take the bathroom, and
Mhm.
I'll search the bags, okay?
All right.
Very good.
Which,
Let's cut back over to Donovan, looking through the peephole. Donovan, you see a man, very large, wearing clothes that look very ill-fitting. And he's turned away from you, looking in the mirror that's hanging directly across from the door. You can't quite see the reflection in the mirror because he's a big guy and he's kind of blocking it, but you do see him pressing on his face. He's like, "Ugh. Oh, oh, oh." And then he like continues on. I want you to make an insight roll.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, yeah, that goes up. That's a 6.
How are you feeling? What are you
Honestly,
thinking?
quite disturbed. I'm wondering if surely it was just the distortion from the peephole, but like I thought I saw like him pushing bones back into place.
Do you say that to Ida?
No, that's what he thinks. But he
Oh,
said
okay.
he kind of like pulls back and like it's like disturbed, but he kind of like takes a moment to like gain his composure, like look around back over his shoulder at Ida and goes, "Ah, these those poor druggy types.
Oh dear.
Some people come to hotels to ride off a high, and some just can't kick the habit. It's real sad stuff. But
Mr. Carruthers did say there was some seedy sorts about.
yeah, yeah. Don't worry, Miss Swanson. I'll make sure you're kept nice and safe. We don't have a lot of time. Maybe you should look for Jimmy's belongings and make sure that maybe we can find out where he is.
Thank you so much for all of your help, Mr. Trudeau. I really, really can't express how appreciative I am.
Oh no, sweetheart, it's my pleasure. Happy to help.
Let's paint the scene. Vis-a-vis Jimmy's room. Looking around, how can we tell that Jimmy was a long-term resident of the Hotel Miramar?
He actually has his clothes and stuff put away in the drawers and not just in suitcases lying around. Everything's hung up appropriately and folded in drawers appropriately.
there are photos actually displayed like in their frames, standing on drawers and stuff. Is particularly one of a young Jimmy and Ida together from back home before he left.
There's a little um like pad of paper that has been like written like many different like restaurants and places to like grab food that aren't just the hotel but are clearly like within at least like a certain block radius of the hotel, like familiarity over multiple different places.
There is this chair in there that is not part of the rest of the hotel's furniture. It's a very comfortable, like sort of lounging chair. Seems that he bought that one on his own.
So it seems like wherever James went, he didn't take much of his stuff with him. The room is still mostly, it seems like it would have been as he was here. What's your first, where do you go look first, Ida?
I want to look for in the bedside table for wallets or anything. If he left somewhere, maybe he left his wallet, or maybe there was tickets somewhere.
Yeah, go ahead and roll a die.
4.
4. Okay, great. What about you, Donovan?
I think I'll walk over to the bathroom
Mhm.
Maybe take a look around his drawers in there, see if he has any just peeking through the drawers,
Medications and that kind of thing.
medications or
Yeah.
substances.
You can take 2 dice since this is your bailiwick.
Man, I'm burning out fast on this roll. 4.
4. Very good. Okay, so we got 2 4s on the table. That's good. That's a good, decent roll. Let's cut over to the others. By contrast, Reese and Manny, you don't really see much evidence of Mr. Appleton being a long-term resident at all. Let's paint the scene in the opposite direction. How can you tell Mr. Appleton doesn't even really stay here?
If it wasn't for the smell, you couldn't tell that anyone was staying in here because the bed has been perfectly been made.
Oh, you're muted, Wes.
Yeah. None of the items that are set up in the corner for like the cocktail bar of this room, like the complimentary like gifts and stuff, like untouched champagne bottles, uncorked, things of that nature.
Alex and Amanda, any additions?
Oh, sorry, I totally blanked out for a second.
How can you tell that he doesn't even like stay in the room, Mr. Appleton?
Oh my God, it's there's a note, right? It's like instead of like the usual do not disturb sign, it's straight up an invitation of like oh, just come in and
Yeah.
clean at all hours. Like it's just like no concern for that.
Yeah.
I think there's pamphlets for other hotels.
Good. Yeah. I like it. So, Reese, where are you going to look?
The bathroom, because don't see anything on the bed. She's probably in the bathroom.
Go ahead and make a single die roll.
Okay. That is a 5.
That's good. That's like the best roll. Manny, what about you?
As a 3.
Where are you searching though?
Searching the suitcases and stuff.
Oh, got
like
it.
that.
Yeah. Like whatever, or like where his clothes and stuff might be.
Mhm,
We'll say the closet.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Perfect.
Good. We'll check in with Donovan and Ida first. 2 4s. Not too bad. Everything a competent investigator would discover. Let me take a look at my notes here. You find a letter, Ida, addressed to you, never sent.
Well, absolutely going to read that.
It's got all the normal sorts of pleasantries in the beginning, but the letter gets increasingly frantic. He says, lately I've been going to parties hosted by big shot producers, and I've seen things that I probably shouldn't have seen. He says, there's one thing in particular, and he says, it was a book. They called it the Tijuana Bible. I think this town is changing me, Ida. Meanwhile, in the bathroom, you find not much, but there is an issue of Confidential magazine sitting on the back of the commode, Donovan. It's all the normal sorts of things you expect to find in a rag like Confidential. But Jimmy has circled one story in particular. A story detailing a vice raid on the home of a man who was making pornographic films of a, quote, disturbing nature. The films all involved men matching James's description and were quite violent and disturbing.
Interesting. I'm gonna roll that up and tuck it into my coat. Don't want Ida catching that. I'll step back out of the bathroom, kind of like look around, look over to Ida.
Did you find anything?
Other than maybe a little too much usage on the toilet paper. No, nothing in the bathroom.
I found this letter, and he was going to parties, and he said he saw some kind of scary book called a Tijuana Bible.
Well, let me take a look at that. May I?
Yes, of course. Oh,
Hmm.
I'm starting to think something dreadful may have happened to him. He
Oh,
promised me that he would get me out of our farm town and bring me here, and he wouldn't break my promise like that to me. He would
oh,
never.
absolutely. No, I see where you went wrong. Tijuana. It's a city in Mexico. But
Mexico?
no,
He was
I
reading Bibles from Mexico?
I don't know what that
He
means.
doesn't even know Spanish.
Hey, maybe he picked some of it up while he was here. Pretty easy language to learn.
I
Here,
suppose.
I'll teach you a little bit right now. Hola.
But do we really have time for this?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was sorry. I was just entreating you. You look distressed. I'm trying to alleviate your mind.
I greatly appreciate that, Mr. Trudeau. Honestly, you are taking such wonderful care of me, and I can't think of how I'd repay you. But thank you.
We'll discuss that another time. We should probably, you know, skedaddle, meet up with the others. It's running out of time. If you're sure that you got everything, we'll head out.
Manny, you got a 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give you're gonna find something, but it's gonna be a little cryptic. Inside the closet, there isn't much, but there are lots of shopping bags from local men's clothiers. And just lots of them, like different shops. And you even see a couple of receipts that indicate that Mr. Appleton's been doing a lot of shopping over the last few weeks, making a lot of trips. You also find in the closet a bunch of clothing, but it's just wadded up and tossed in a corner. It's not actually hung up nicely or anything. Reese, you said you were looking in the bathroom.
Yep.
What'd you get?
A 5.
A 5. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Let's see here. Well, Reese, you step into the bathroom. There is a plastic shower curtain over the clawfoot tub,
Mm-hmm.
and you see a shape behind the shower curtain. Someone is behind the shower curtain. What do you do?
I'm going to pull back the shower curtain.
and there's someone there, a young
Mhm.
man. He says, "Oh,
Jeez.
sorry, sorry. I
Oh.
It's a young guy, young black guy, and he says, uh, I was just doing some plumbing, some maintenance.
Mhm.
I'll go now."
Oh, is that what the smell's all about? There were some complaints.
He's like, "Yeah, what is that?" Oh, yeah, it's the plumbing. Yeah, it's the plumbing, definitely.
Okay. Listen, I work here. If there's
I can see that by the way you're dressed.
Y-
Unless you
Listen.
just, that's a style thing.
no, it's not a style thing.
It would be quite a
Yeah, but,
choice.
listen, I don't care what the problem is. I'd rather you just be outright. I won't tell anyone about it. I just want this mess cleaned up right away. That's
He's
all.
like, we gotta get out of here. That's what's up.
Why?
We gotta go. Listen. And he looks, and then he sees Manny as well. He's like, well,
Don't worry about that. Focus on me.
you shouldn't be poking around here. I mean, I know I'm not one to talk right now, but we gotta go.
Mhm.
This cat, Mr. Appleton, he's bad news. Bad news.
Yeah.
What have you
Probably.
heard about the fat man?
Nothing about the fat man in particular. I've heard a few things about this hotel, but
Well, it's a lot, but there's a group of men
Mhm.
who have legendary appetites of all sorts, we'll say.
Mhm.
And they sometimes this is stupid. I'm gonna go. I think Mr. Appleton is one of these men,
Mhm.
and they're careful. They don't usually target people who are going to be missed, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Which is why in my neighborhood is where they tend to do most of their work.
Mm.
And I just want to know what's going on. And I don't know why I'm telling you all of this. I gotta go.
Well, to be fair, I found you in the bathtub for some reason.
Well, I thought you were him, so I was hiding.
Okay. Well,
There's a camera. Just a camera goes off. The
You
flash
take a
bulb
picture of
goes
him?
off. Of like
oh
them
my God.
talking to each other. Just
He's like,
Just
hey,
like,
hey.
hey.
I don't want to. I don't.
No, you don't take people pictures without permission.
this is a crime scene, and I am a crime
Crime
tabloid
scene. There's
reporter.
no. He's like,
Listen,
Sure, no crime here. That's fine. Oh yeah, sorry. Wait, you don't want me to publish this photo of you in a bathtub talking to a bellhop in a hotel?
I think he like lunges for your camera.
Oh,
I'm gonna help out in this circumstance.
You're gonna help. You're gonna help him, or you're gonna
Yeah.
help the.
I'm gonna help this random guy that I found in the bathtub.
Okay, very good. So basically, you're rolling against Manny at this point.
mhm.
So let's take a look here. Competing to compete, everyone who's competing rolls their dice. The highest die wins. It's pretty easy.
Mhm.
I don't know if I think probably Manny gets 2 dice though, because this is Manny's gig having cameras.
I've had so many experiences with people trying to take this away from me.
Yeah, Reese, you're just on 1 die.
Yeah. I rolled a 3.
That's a 6.
Okay, so you're in control here, Manny. What do you do?
Would like y'all both lunge for it and everything like that, quick as a wink, almost like it's a routine thing. You see Manny pull out a small Derringer pistol. This thing has 2 shots. All right,
Why did you bring a gun here?
I know what I'm dealing with. Okay, I'm not just some sleazy paparazzi. I'm trying to dig into a story. All right, and you're trying to cover it up. Okay, so if you want this picture to be gone forever, no evidence of you creeping out in Mr. Applebaum or Appleton's or whatever his name is bathroom, how much is it going to cost you?
I don't have money.
No, not you. I know you don't have money.
He's like, all I know is the only thing I have of value is maybe what I know. I can give you a lead. How about that? If you're some big reporter.
Information is a viable source of resources when it comes to a barter, so to speak. I feel like the barter system is one of the most pure economic.
Yeah.
Puts the Derringer back up in like a random pocket, different from the one he grabbed it from.
He says, listen, these men, we call them the fat men. I don't know what they call themselves. They like to prey on people in my neighborhood. And then whenever they can get their hands on a young star or starlet, well, they do that too. But they've been hunting in my neighborhood for a long, long time. There are old timers where I live who remember them. So if you want to really go deep on this, you want to know what's really going on, you talk to them.
Okay, so we got the fat men in your neighborhood. Then something about the Purple Crown. Have you ever heard about the Purple Crown?
I don't know what you're talking about, man. Is that a movie? I think it's a movie theater, right?
Yeah, movie theater. Okay, yeah. All right. Go ahead and just like pull the photo, like like you hear the shunk of the photo come out, and just pull out a Zippo lighter and light it on fire and toss it in the fucking sink.
Nice, good.
Okay.
At this point, do Donovan and Ida turn up in the room, or what's going on here? Do you like meet up with them in 202?
Should we go back down to the lobby and like wait for them there, and make it seem non-suspicious?
Yeah, probably.
We go down and wait by the bar. I think we just try to make it look casual.
Mr. Carruthers comes up to you. He says, well, how did everything go? Did you find a really helpful clue about your missing bow, Ms. Swanson?
Yes, thank you for asking.
Buzzy as a peach.
Right. Well, this has been a perfectly scintillating afternoon.
Mr. Carruthers, I do have to ask you. Do you know if
Must you?
Jimmy had? Well, I'm going to. Did you know if Jimmy was going to any parties in the hotel? Was he talking to anybody in particular, perhaps in Spanish?
Miss Swanson, this is Los Angeles, California. Someone is always going to some sort of sordid fate or lurid affair or happening. It's just the nature of the beast.
Jimmy.
I wasn't keeping particular tabs on Mr. Hunsaker, as you call him, Mr. Devane, as he wished to be known. But I'm quite certain that it wasn't within these walls. We're not that kind of establishment.
That makes sense why Jimmy would stay here. He's not. He's such a good boy. He's like a boy next door. That's one of the reasons I love him so much. That's why he's out here to help us build a life together here.
Oh, dear heart. Yes. Mr. Trudeau, I assume you found your inquiries, your probing to be most fruitful.
I've had better jobs, but I think I'm confident I can swing Miss Swanson out of your joint and let you conduct your affairs as you see fit.
I was just about to say, since neither of you currently have a room here at the Hotel Miramar, and since you're not presently drinking a drink, and since we have had our little give and take, I think it might be a perfect opportunity for the two of you to skedaddle.
Yes, I'll get out of your hair. I
What
just,
about Mr. Menzinger? I certainly don't like that sort poking
Oh.
around.
don't worry about him. Your bellhop, very helpful boy, is he has Mr. Menzinger has a problem with the runs, and Mr. Palmer was helping him to a bathroom and helping him clean up a little bit. Top of the grade service, honestly.
Reese loves to take initiative. So, did the two of you come back?
Yeah, I think after like Reese likes to take initiative, we pop up.
This young man, whose name was Anthony, by the way, he just exits the lobby. He leaves.
Yeah. Walk up and be like, geez, Carruthers, let me tell you, the service in this joint, impeccable. Pointing over to Reese. The rooms, on the other hand, well, I feel like I could have a better experience sleeping in an alleyway down in Wiltshire.
Oh, Mr. Menzinger, I was just starting to have a positive opinion of you. That's all
Well,
right.
we'll get out of your hair, Mr. Carruthers. Thank you for all your managerial expertise. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, the pleasure has been all yours.
Mr. Carruthers, I don't exactly have a place to stay here in
I'm so
Los
sorry to hear
Angeles.
that, Miss
Do you
Swanson.
have any recommendations on somewhere that is not as expensive as this place? Although I'm sure your rates are very fair.
I'm sure Mr. Menzinger can help you find adequate accommodations since he has so many thoughts about hotels.
Yeah. I know a place. It's a women's home. Well, it's not like a woman's home, but it's like a place where women can stay. And it's down by the Hall of Records, and they got a cigarette machine in the lobby, which is like really useful. So
He like pulls his bell out, rings it right in front of you, Reese. Ding, ding, ding.
Yes, sir.
Reese, perhaps you could show our erstwhile guests out.
Gladly.
Thank you. And
Yeah, exit the hotel. Yeah, absolutely.
exit the hotel. Well, so let's get a read on where you all want to go. You have some leads here. You have some things. Anthony might have given you like an address just so you can have something to follow up on there.
I think I'll
And-
pull
yeah.
Manny to the side actually, because like while Reese is talking with Ida or whatever, pull him down to the side, make it look like a smoke break, kind of
Mhm.
thing. I'll offer him a cigar from my little case, light it for him if he accepts, and then I
Oh.
very discreetly open
Oh.
my coat. Yeah, don't get used to it. I open my coat and I pull out the issue of Confidential and like discreetly open it to the page I took notice of and like show it to him.
Interesting. Looking through it. It's stout. Oh, you're not supposed to inhale. Got it. Okay.
No.
Typically roll my own, so it's like, oh, interesting. You know what's weird? We went up to Appleton's room, and there was like nothing there. Well, there was this kid that was hiding in the bathroom, but he said something about fat men.
Why was there a kid hiding in the fat man?
Yeah.
I mean, I saw a large man. What did he have to tell you about those things?
I told him it was rude to call Donovan Trudeau that, but and then he was like, "Who's Donovan Trudeau?" And I was like, "Fair enough."
I
But-
hold up my fist and I'm like, I believe your former incisor still has its mark right there. If you want me to add another, I can.
Okay. Jeez. Go to the vaudeville or something. Have a good time. Jeez.
It's 1930 vaudeville. Jeez, what are
The
you?
theater. Okay.
What is this? This is Appalachia? What's going
That's
on?
what I'm saying,
here?
like, what? I didn't realize I was
It's
in
just
hill
a theater.
country.
It's a cheap theater. It's fine.
How old do you
It's-
think I am, boy?
I have
Take
a lot of
take a trip to the
opinions.
Catskills 30 years ago.
Hey, the Catskills is a very beautiful area. Okay. But he goes, yeah, no, just said that there's like back in his neighborhood. His name was Anthony. Back in his neighborhood, there was like just like an old kind of like almost like a legend, like people that wander around there and everything like that. I'm sure the people there would know a little bit more about it than me. I was too busy getting harassed for taking a picture of a potential crime scene.
Manny, you're making less sense than a 2-bit shoe shine on Venice. Okay, let's
2 cents, but okay. All right. Anyways, other than that, I checked the closet for Appleton's stuff and everything, and I just found like it was like a soaking wet, like it was just like a pile. It was not even like a pile. It's just like been wrung dry and everything. It was
weird.
not even dry, but it was like looked like somebody's trying to. It was just a mess, and it smelled bad in there. When I'm telling you, it smelled like urine.
So you mentioned it. You mentioned the Anthony kid. You mentioned an address.
Yeah. It's a potential, it's a lead. We have like, the theater that we can go to, but then also like
Why do we go to that theater? I mean, feel like Mr. Carruthers was offering a bit of wares that I don't want to peruse, if you catch my meaning.
I thought you were a movie guy, but okay.
I work for the movies. I'm not a movie guy.
It's like being a chef and not eating food. You are so backwards. You know that? Anyways, okay. What is this? What is this thing that you're handing to me? What is this?
Fucking read it. I let him peruse the whole entirety of it.
The confidential piece.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. This is...
Sound familiar?
I mean, I might have a connection or somebody that would know something about this.
You might. If you make a phone call, you can probably find out the address of where that raid happened.
Yeah. I can talk to Doreen down at the phone pool and see if she can put me in the right place.
There's a phone booth on the corner 2 blocks down. How about I keep the good Miss Swanson idle and idle Ida. I like that actually.
Yeah, that's really good. Also, could you grab that Reese kid and like maybe like get him off work or something like that?
I kind of like look over and I'm like, hey, bill up.
Yes.
I walk over to him. I'll pull like a whole ass dollar bill out of my wallet and I'll hand him one as a sizable tip and be like, you've had good service. What time you off work tonight?
About 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. What time is it right now? Look at my watch.
It's probably like 3 in the afternoon.
Right. Well, don't want to get you fired, but kind of like the cut of your jib and the kindness and spunk you're showing, Miss Swanson here. If you're
Yes.
interested in making a few extra dollars on the side, I'd be happy to recruit your services after you're off work.
Sure. You're not anything like Mr. Menzinger.
Manzinger? No,
yeah.
I'm nothing like him. No.
Yeah. He did pull a gun on me, so
He did what?
he pulled a gun on me because, well, frankly, he was taking photos of just me, some random other guy in the bathroom when it was just not necessary. Like, and then he tried to blackmail us. So,
Well, I wouldn't hold that past him. No, don't you worry. I'm nothing like Mr. Manzinger.
yeah,
And I pay a lot better too.
I just don't want Miss Swanson to get wrapped up in someone like him.
Oh, don't worry. Miss Swanson doesn't have to worry about Mr. Manzinger.
I'm going to check in with Mr. Manzinger in that phone call in a minute. But Ida, what are you doing right now?
I think I'm just reading and rereading this letter, trying to see if there's something in it that I can discern, where Jimmy is, where he was going, where this party was, anything.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're going to have any more luck with the letter. Although I will say, so far, Manny and Donovan have kept all conversation about the Purple Crown to themselves. There's no reason for you to know that that's significant because you haven't heard of it yet, Ida. But Jimmy does mention a night spent at the Purple Crown in the picture they went and saw. It's just casually mentioned. It doesn't seem like it's anything particularly.
But it is a place.
It's a place. It's an actual named place. So
Um, Mr. Palmer, sorry to interrupt your conversation. Do you
Yeah.
know of this purple crown? Have you heard of this place? It
Ha-
seems like Jimmy might have gone there.
have I heard of this place?
yeah,
Like,
it's a theater you would have heard of.
yes, it's a theater. It's not too far from here.
Oh, walking distance?
I would say so.
Mr. Trudeau, Mr. Menzinger,
Yeah,
Uh,
yes, Miss Swanson, yes.
I think I've discovered a clue.
Did you now?
Not to step on your toes or anything. But in Jimmy's letter, it does say that he went to see a moving picture at the Purple Crown, it says.
I just give a sidelong look to Manzinger. The Purple Crown, you say?
Yes, Mr. Palmer here says it's a local theater, like a cinema theater. So perhaps we should go there.
Manny, just then in the phone booth, I think you're all kind of standing around the phone booth, and you're actually on the phone. You get Doreen, and she's like, "Oh, Manny Manzinger, I haven't heard from you in a while.
Oh, Doreen with 2 R's. It's so good to speak to you.
What do you think about this heat, Manny? It's so hot right now."
It's got me absolutely sweating out here on these streets, Doreen.
I don't know how much longer I can maintain my modesty, Manny. It's so hot. I'm just gonna undo my top button here real quick.
You just see Manny just like banging the phone booth with his fist. Just like as refreshing and relaxing as that sounds, Doreen, I wasn't calling for something like that. Not yet, though.
Hmm. Okay. How can I help you, Manny?
There's an address that I'm looking up. Something about a police raid happened.
Was this a story in Uncovered?
No. It's a confidential file, and I'll relay some of the information from that confidential.
Well, something from Confidential.
From
That's-
confidential, yes.
Oh, well, they're our competitor, Manny. I wouldn't necessarily know exactly, but what's the date on that issue?
What was the date again?
I didn't say, but you can just give her the
Oh,
date.
okay. Oh, yeah, it was about 2 months ago.
She's like, yeah, okay. And she's like, I think I remember that story. I mean, pornography raids, those are dime a dozen in this town. But the fact that these were young men, that was a really significant detail, makes it stand out in the mind.
Writing stuff down. Okay.
I would like to get my hands on some of those movies myself, although I've heard they're quite violent.
Well, we could potentially, looking at the group, mentioning of the purple, like the Purple Crown, be like, I could probably scoop something for you. We're going to this theater house, and like this hotel manager Carruthers, who seems like a skeevy kind of guy. I'm kind of vanilla when it comes to all that kind of stuff.
Make a 2-die investigation roll. Let's see what you can get out of Doreen.
4.
4. Oh, that's good. She's like, yeah. Okay, Manny. Manny, that's a good name. That's a good name for a whole lot of man. I can't hear you, Wes, if you're talking.
Oh, I was like, oh, it's my grandfather's name. You're right. Strong name.
She's like, yeah, right. I've got some notes. We had somebody on that story too here. I'm just okay. So, yep, I've got an address for you. Isn't that something?
Oh, I never doubted you. You always pull through.
Oh, it's a little out of the way. 16 Rancho Vista Road. That's up in the hills. You're gonna have to get a cab for that one, I'm afraid.
Looks over at Donovan and goes, I think I might have gotten a ride.
Okay. I'd like to take you for a ride, Manny.
Look, you keep talking to me like this, then none of this work's gonna get done, okay? And then I can't take you out to get a couple of deaths in the afternoons and have ourselves a nice little time at the boardwalk, okay?
Right. I just feel like you're always stringing me along, Mr. Menzinger.
The only person that's gonna get stringed up here is me, okay? Just after this big scoop.
She's like, wow. All right, Manny. Don't be a stranger.
I won't be. Also, if Bullheimer asks about me about that scoop about the baseball players and everything like that, tell him I'm working on it, but I'm really
Oh,
not because it's kind of boring.
complete pain. Oh, I can't get rid. Oh, but I'll do my best. I will be so accommodating.
You always are. Have a great rest of your day, Dory.
You too, doll. And she hangs up.
Hangs up, opens up the phone booth, goes, "What? Ah, I just flew in from the Ziegfeld Follies, and boy, are my arms tired." Okay, I've got an address, but it is all the way out in the hills, so we're gonna need some wheels.
I have a car.
Something about boy films.
Boy films. Huh.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Oh, well, Jimmy was doing acting. Maybe he was in one of these men films.
I'm sure that he might have been, and I'm certain that there will be no shock once you find out exactly the genre that he was playing in. Maybe something sci-fi.
As Manny is saying this, Donovan is lighting up a new cigar and just says, only audible under his breath to Manny, he says he was in something all right.
Jesus Christ.
Jimmy never told me about the kind of work that he was doing out here, so it'd be really entertaining to see, him in action.
Oh, that's the thing about show business out here is that there's so many different types of movies and everything like that going on out here. So it's hard to keep track, but I'm sure we can talk. I'll tell you all about it on the way up to Rancho Vista.
Oh, I hope one of them's a Western.
I think like Reese is just looming over Ida, giving Manny like a very dirty look of like, don't you dare.
I don't think we should head up quite yet. I mean, it's
The Purple
it's-
Crown's nearby.
Yeah, as I was say, it's mid-afternoon. Miss Swanson, maybe Mr. Manzinger here could find you some comfortable accommodations in case you're gonna be here overnight at that place he mentioned. I might need to grab a lunch and might catch myself a movie while I'm in the neighborhood, and we can maybe make arrangements to go up to this Rancho Vista such or other later this evening. Scenic sunset. You can see the beautiful drive up the hills.
Reese, you could theoretically go to the theater on your break and then
Yeah.
join the group after you get off for Rancho Vista Road. So that all sounds really promising to me. What is everyone going to do at this point? Let's figure out where everyone's at in time and space. Where's everyone headed?
Were we planning to go to the Purple Crown right away, or are we waiting on that?
I think that Donnie might go to the Purple Crown if no one else goes. Like he might
Mhm.
because I don't think Donnie wants to go up to Rancho in the middle of like the late afternoon, early evening. He wants to get let time pass, and he's in the space of yeah, maybe we can he wants to do some dirt digging fully away from Ida's eyes, get her out of the picture, go to the movie theater, maybe take a look around, dig up some other things, and then kind of figure out his game plan. He's gonna be a little individualistic.
I think Reese will take his break and go to the Purple Crown Theater. See if
And Manny will take Ida to that home. Or not home, it's like a hostel kind of thing. It's rent a room.
Yeah.
You know, kind of place, and just get her set up and everything like that. Tell her about the wonders of Los Angeles.
Donovan, you and Reese are at the Purple Crown Theater. It's a weird location for a theater. It's between two taller buildings, and so you can't even really see it unless you're right in front of it. And I wouldn't say it has a lot of curb appeal. They have not updated the marquee. In fact, it's just a bunch of random letters currently. The posters are very old from films that haven't played for a long time. But there is a short, very, very skinny old man wearing a purple bow tie and a white tuxedo shirt sitting in the box office. What do you do?
I think the first thing that Donovan does is like, I don't think we came here together. I think Reese came on his break, and and Donovan's just like, he's like, "Geez, Louise, kid, you a stray dog? Why are you following me?"
Well, I can't really investigate elsewhere because I can't leave my job in the middle
What do
of
you
the forest.
care? Let me ask you that. Why do you care?
Why does anybody care about money? Just so I'm not sleeping out in the streets.
No, that's a good answer, kid. You'd go far in this town. Fine, come on. Yeah, I'll walk up to the box office.
Hello? What picture would you like to see?
What are you showing?
Oh, what are you in the mood for?
Looks over at Reese.
Oh, I just missed that.
What are you in the
Oh.
mood for? What picture? What kind of picture?
Yeah. My nephew here is a fan of the movies. You tell me.
Would you
tell me
like
what
to
wanna
see something with lots of blood and violence? Or would you like to see something that feels like you're in a waking dream?
Something that feels like a waking dream. That would be interesting.
Excellent choice, sir. One ticket. And he prints the ticket. He doesn't even take any money. He just gives you the ticket. And you, sir?
Same picture. Why not?
Oh, very well. And he prints the ticket.
How many rooms you got here? How many theaters do you have showings in?
Oh, just the one. We're not one of
You also-
those
oh,
big
yeah.
fancy movie palaces.
No, I understand. You
A
the
humble
projection-
operation.
It's an institution. You also the projectionist?
No, no, sir. I don't have the sort of technical know-how for such a position.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, okay. Thank you for your help.
I just dispense the tickets.
Yeah, sure thing.
Enjoy the show. And you can then go inside the theater.
Mm-hmm. Most folks think that this place is kind of closed down, but I've heard that they still play pretty odd movies around here.
Yeah.
Let's paint the scene. How can you tell looking around? This place hasn't had a patron in a very long time.
Cobwebs in between some of the seats in the darker corners of the theater.
Trash on the floor. It just seems like this place has been abandoned.
All the seats have a thick layer of dust on them.
The concession stand had an old man wearing a red vest standing behind it, but there were no concessions to dispense.
As you walk into the theater, past the concession stand, the old man there says, "Enjoy the picture." You take your seats. The lights go down. You hear the thrum of the projection machine. There's a flicker on the screen. And I think we'll end our session there today.
Fun.
Let's go to Stars and Wishes. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, stars. I really love the setting. I love 1930s Los Angeles. I love the grime. I love the kind of like noir-esque feel. So these characters are really cool. I'm a sucker for like hotel mysteries and like weird kind of like Hollywood conspiracies. So like getting like I really liked Manny as a character, and right out of the gate I really enjoyed Manny and Donovan's interactions. That was just really cool. Ida is a doll, love her, but there's definitely shades of something else I'm sure that will come to the fore as things progress. I'm sure Amanda is gonna have a lot of fun things happen to this character. Reese reminds me of the character from oh god, what is it, like Bad Times or something at the it was a movie that came out a few years ago at the
Bill Pullman's son plays that guy. Yeah.
yeah, it
character.
was
Bad Times at the
the
El
El Royale.
El
Yeah,
Royale.
yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of like concierge
Underrated
character.
movie. Yeah.
Underrated, definitely underrated movie.
Very. Yeah.
So good.
No, yeah, I loved Reese as the bell. I love like a spunky kind of investigative bellhop and all the weirdness. This is my first time playing Cthulhu Dark, so started Jason. I love all these character voices, but also like the creep factor is very cool too. I'm just wish I wanna I want Donovan to pull a gun on one of us and have things get violent and deranged. I'm also ready for sick and terrible things to happen to Manny. And I hope that before he meets his untimely end that he gets to keep that date with his friend.
Yeah, I have lots and lots of stars. I played Cthulhu Dark before with Jason, and I don't think anybody else in this group, but this was just a lot of fun. I really love this, noir setting. It's very grimy and creepy, and I don't really know what's going to happen. Like all the tropes are kind of there, but you don't really know how everything's going to pull together. So I'm really excited to see how this is all going to play out. Um, I think everybody's characters are really interesting. I would absolutely like read this comic book or watch this movie. I love Reese. He's kind of that character in my imagination. He's always just kind of there in the background in every scene somehow, and I think it's going to be really fun when he starts to lean into his more supernatural obsession type things. I think that's going to be very entertaining. The dynamic between Menzinger and Trudeau is hilarious. It's so funny. They're going to end up killing each other, and I'm really excited for that. The voices, of course, Jason. I don't know what it was about the voice of the person at the movie theater, like the ticket taker. That one killed me, and I don't know why. It was a little bit like your John Malkovich voice, but a little bit crypt keepery. It was just, I don't know, it really very entertaining. I don't know why, but it was. I'm looking forward to Ida being a little less. I'm looking forward to seeing how Ida reacts to things not going as well, because I think that's going to be where things get a little interesting for her. Yeah, I'm excited to see where this all goes. I can't wait for it to get grimier and spookier and grosser and more terrible, as is the way of Cthulhu Dark.
I gotta give a star to Wes for creating such a somewhat skeevy character of like just like he's not as bad as like the Carruthers, but like he's still kind of bad, and like that it's very interesting to see like how Donovan doesn't like him as well as Reese doesn't like him, but for very two different reasons. I think like Donovan views Manny as like a pest, whereas Reese considers Manny somewhat of a menace. Um, I think we're all on team. We have to protect Ida from any harm, even though we know that Ida's probably gonna die. And Donovan is he feels so much older than the rest of us. Like I think Reese and Ida are like the two younger ones, and Manny's a little bit older, but like Donovan seems to be like quite a bit older than the rest of us. So it's very interesting to see like this inner dynamic of like, oh yeah, of like he feels like he stepped out of like the mafia or something. Yeah. So I'm very excited to see where all this is. And I want to know Ida's dark secret.
So many stars, so many. Oh God. Okay, so Reese is a fantastic. I just like I got shades of like Bad Times at El Royale, but also shades of like Tony Revolori and Grand Budapest Hotel. Like it like very fit within the block of it. And I love that you're working around the constraints of like you work at this hotel, so you have to listen to this manager, but you're also investigating. You worked really well with that chaotic. Amanda, I adore Ida, and I'm so sorry about what's about to happen to her when she watches this movie because it's going to shatter her entire world. But you know, you have to grow up sometime. And you can't grow up on the East Coast. I'm sorry. But like, no, I just love like the openness and the willingness you have of just seeing the best in everybody. Like Ida's just being like, oh yeah, no, like this very helpful, like not skeevy reporter is helping me, and it's just Manny over there, chain smoking, hand rolled cigarettes. That he's probably broke down from other cigarettes that he's found on the street. Um, Donald Trudeau. Just I feel that bulldog energy. I feel that fucking like I make sure things happen and they happen the way I like them. And I really love that dynamic that we established. Alex messaged me before we start and was like, "Hey, so we have a history, right?" I'm like, "Absolutely do." And then was like, "I put you in the hospital, right?" And I was like, "You absolutely did." Like I loved that. Also, like I felt very comfortable. Sorry for everybody. I felt very comfortable playing a skeevy, unlikable character. I love skeevy, unlikable characters, and I think more people should go out of their way to play them because they are so fun. And then Jason, I felt it. I felt the vibes. I felt the tinge, the Art Deco, the smoke across the screen, everything. I was there in it, and I'm loving this mystery. Like it's just like such a like it's got everything that I love. It's got, you know, washed up actors, it's got weird hotels, it's got boy films, it's got dynamic, also like working, like you are so good, and I say this often, but you're so good at like it's clear that you're good at improv because you do that yes and so well. I'm throwing these people like I'm gonna call Doreen at the phone pool, and you just develop that whole relationship off the fly and everything. It was so good. And then like maybe like, yeah, the editor Bullheimer, like whatever. It's like I don't know. It's like, but yeah, you worked with it. It was so fun. Like I just feel like I'm in my bread and butter situation. I'm in hog heaven right now. So yeah. And then Wishes. I want to keep playing Cthulhu Dark. I just love it. I love it.
Got 3 whole mysteries. So, yeah, I really this was a lot of fun. I've run Hotel Miramar before, but I'm kind of like I know we've had like some rumblings of doing something LA noirish in the between mold, and in the thinking that that may be a thing, anticipating it at least, I'm like starting to think about like how can I adapt some of these things to that. And so so I've been kind of looking forward to pulling out Hotel Miramar, and there's 2 others as well, and kind of dusting them off and like kind of looking at them anew and thinking about them anew and kind of what to do with them and what's working, what what will work, and what might be fun to to explore in a different way. And so it's been a lot of fun in that regard, and I'm really looking forward to part 2, because part 2 is when it gets really gnarly. And so I'm we're still very much in the preliminary part of the investigation, or at least the sort of threshold matters. And so I'm excited just to keep that going. Everyone did a great job today. I loved all the characterizations. It just feels like it's a fun group of characters, and that sort of like history between Manny and Donovan felt very real. It felt very lived in, and so that was really impressive. I love the Ida character because it's so there's something about like this you need like this sort of like cipher character, and Ida's very much that, right? Like the character by which we sort of like understand everything, right? And she's almost a permission slip to like enjoy the more lurid parts of it, because Ida like we know that Ida doesn't get it, and because we know, it makes it more safe or something. I don't know, but loving that. And yeah, and Reese is great, and I really like the dynamic. I really like what you came up with to sort of like throw Mr. Carruthers's bullshit back in his face by saying, well, don't you remember at the meeting you said da 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 da, and but then Mr. Carruthers kind of throws it back at you, like making with the little taking initiative jabs, and so all that was very fun. And yeah, I like this a lot. I'm excited to see the conclusion, and I don't know what we're going to do afterwards, but if we end up playing the other mysteries, I think that'll be a lot of fun too. Each of them looks at sort of like different aspects of sort of like old Hollywood, so that'll be a lot of fun. I don't think I have anything else though. Are there any other stars or wishes? Okay, then I'm going to wave goodbye. Bye.